Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 22 with our realistic series. Drawing water from the well, you get them processing the food and cooking it, you get them cutting down the trees and making firewood and then planks and stuff so that they can create other items that are used here and there, and also create items that you can take to the market and sell. And you do need to do that because you've also got to pay taxes on your land, and if you don't pay your taxes you can get evicted. So you've got to not only keep your villagers happy so that they stay in your village, but you've got to earn some money to pay taxes. And that's the thing that I really like about it, is that's the automation kicking in. You literally have automation there. It's not automated on the face of it. Like when you look at it first, it's like, well, that's not actually automation. Yeah, it is in a way, because you build your kitchen. You got to do that yourself. You build it like you do with any kind of factory type game, like Factorio, Dyson Sphere, Satisfactory, those types of games. You build your factory, but then you put it going. And with Medieval Dynasty, it took me a while to figure out why I loved that game so much, because I have put a lot of hours into that game. And you build your kitchen, you put someone working in the kitchen, you set the recipe, like you would do in any factory game with a manufacturing unit, and then the villager stays there and keeps producing, and they keep doing that day after day after day, and they keep producing and producing and producing. And that's what you want. That's the whole idea of the game. Right, let's get 8 bags of this, because I think we're going to use a lot of it for this one. There we go. And so you keep doing this production work while you're... well, they keep doing the production work. And have I had that load down the whole time? Oops. While you're doing other things, the villager is there working away in the job that you have assigned to them, doing all of the stuff that they need to do in order to keep your village running. And you build this up, and you can build it up with more and more villagers. You have quite a few people working in kitchens at high level. That they've basically it's kind of like you're investing into the research tree. You're earning yourself boosts and stuff like you do in any factory game. Only this one, it's literally just time running. You get the longer the time they spend on the one place, the more production output you get. So you can view it and I do tend to view it very much like a factory game. And I know that most people who play it don't view it like that at all. But that's kind of like how I've got it going in the back of my mind. It's like production facilities and production boosts and so on from the way that they're operating. And as you build up over time, you get some more woodworkers, you get unlock more advanced tech, so you have windmills, people working in the barn threshing your grain for you and processing it and cooking it. You have people, you make marketplaces to sell items to passers-by that you have created in your workshops in order to generate income so that you can go and pay your taxes, and you just keep going like that. And it's a really fantastic game. I really do enjoy that game. Admittedly, I haven't played it for quite some time, but it's still a really good game. They've just opened another Discord, by the way. That well, I'll say another one. They've now started RenderCube, who are the people that actually, the devs for the game itself, have now got their own Discord, which is just for Medieval Dynasty, which is absolutely fantastic. So I strongly recommend you go and give them a look if you are interested in that game at all, and you haven't heard about the new one. The other server that they were using was basically from the publisher, but the publisher had all of the other games on there as well, and so yeah, it's a really good community. Don't get me wrong, it's a really fantastic community that they got going there, but there's a lot of stuff going on there. So if you just want the one game, this is the place to go, the RenderCube one. But I think there's a link to it on Steam actually, so if you are anything Medieval Dynasty related, I recommend you go and take a look at that. The Other games that I like, I've been playing a lot of Factorio in the past. Lately, I've been playing Dyson Sphere Project. For those of you who don't know, I did do a bit of a series on Dyson Sphere, but my main issue with it was that it weren't blueprints. And when it comes to a factory game, blueprints are essential. And that's another reason why I did Satisfactory as well on this channel. And I really liked Satisfactory and I was getting into it, but once again, there were no blueprints. So when you reach a certain size in a factory game, one of two things needs to happen. You need to be able to automate the... say one of two things needs to happen. You need to be able to build stuff quickly in a factory game. Because as you scale up, you need more and more of different items. So you need to be able to find the right resources. So either you need technology to increase in such a way that you get bigger and better machines, so you still only have to put a few of them down in order to meet your new high-level demands, or you need to be able to build lots and lots of machines and set them all up. The problem with building lots and lots of machines and setting them all up is that it takes a huge amount of time. And I don't just mean a bit huge amount of time, I mean a really huge amount of time. It's obscene the amount of time it can take to build a factory when you're building up a very large scale thing. Press the wrong button there. If you're building up something that's very large scale, you need to be able to put down lots and lots of machines. And my problem with Satisfactory when I was playing it was you didn't have blueprints. So it got to the point where in order to be able to expand and build something decent, I wanted to be able to build and construct a new factory unit. But it wasn't just like one or two buildings. I would need to put down 30 or 40 of them for one section with all of the belts going in and out and all of the connections you have to do. It takes quite a while. But when you've got to do that with like 8 different ingredients and set it up like that, it takes the fun away and it starts to become tedious. If you can set up a blueprint, like Factorio is now really well known for, and also now Dyson Sphere has got, if you can set up that blueprint, you don't have that concern anymore. You don't need to be worrying about having to place down 40 different machines, place down all of the connections and all of the belts and everything else. You have your first lot of 10 machines, you make a blueprint of it, and then you slap down that blueprint. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then your robots or your little helpers or whoever is doing it, they run along and they put everything down for you, which is how it should be. Factorio, you don't have that straight away. You have to build your own things to start with, and then later on your robots go and start... You unlock robots and then they start doing it for you. And I like that. It is a good way to build up, although I find these days that I really don't like the initial stages of Factorio. It kind of puts me off from starting a new game because I don't have the robots. Not having them in the early stage of the game is no longer something I relish building up towards. I just don't like that I don't have them, because I mostly play the game for large scale builds and stuff like that. I'm not looking to sort of play it from scratch each time, and that kind of it is a little bit off-putting for me now. I'd like there to be some kind of option. I mean, there probably would be a mod or something, some kind of option that will allow me to have the robots really quickly. One thing that I do find myself doing every now and then, well, I say every now and then, one thing I have found myself doing is basically finding a way to like just get a mod to unlock enough tech that I can get to the robot stage in that game. And it's not a great big thing, but if you can just get to the tech that has the robots, and I think there is a couple of mods that basically just give you the robots right from the start. As long as I got the robots, I'm happy. I'm not happy with what this plough is doing here. Because of the curve of the ground, he's skipping all of it. He's not ploughing anything at all here. We're going to have to work over this quite a bit. So I believe Satisfactory has now got blueprints of some kind. I don't know. I haven't looked at that game in quite some time. It's something that I will probably go back to again at some point. I just haven't for a while yet. I like that game well enough, but when I play that one, really all I'm wanting to do is go and play Factorio. Dyson Sphere is different for me. I'm not going to presume to speak for everybody. And I know some people absolutely love Satisfactory over all other factory games. But for me, every time I play it, all I'm thinking is, yeah, I could be doing this in Factorio, and I'd probably enjoy it more. So I like the game, it just doesn't grab me like others have. Dyson Sphere, however, that one does grab me. I love it. It's the fact that you've got lots of different planets. You start off in a star system, and there is always 3 planets in your... well, 4 planets in your starter system. 3 you can build on, and 1 is a gas giant. And the playthrough I'm on at the moment, I didn't realise that there were certain things that you can get in a starter seed that are different to others. I thought you just started off with these 3 planets circling a star, and you just kind of built up from there. And my starter thing that I've got has got 2 of the first planets are moons that are going around a gas giant. So it's my first planet, the one that I started on first, and then a second planet is also going around this gas giant. So it's really, really close by. I didn't actually realize that that's quite a rare thing. It's not very common to have a binary system in your to start off with. Normally, the second and third planets are a bit further away, and I found this to be really, really convenient for me because it's close by. Like the second planet that I'm hopping to is just... I can just about jump to it sometimes. Like it's as closer than our moon is to Earth. Like it's awesome. It's absolutely fantastic. But anyway, I've been playing that game a lot. They now have blueprints in that game, and I've been building a whole load of different things, and I've just literally done the bit where it says, yes, you've completed the game, which for me is like Factorio. It's where the game really starts. Soon as it gives you the message to say, yes, you have completed the game, you can continue to play if you want to, or you can start again. I'm like, yeah, this is... We've literally just started now. This is the bit that we've been waiting for. We've reached the end game stages, and now we can start to think on a slightly bigger scale. I see that there is... the whole point of the game is to build a Dyson Sphere. You build this massive, great big sphere around a star, and you get power from it. You turn the power... You basically harness the energy from that star and you turn it into antimatter, and that antimatter is how you can transport your energy that you've harvested from the star around the galaxy. And the whole point of the game is to build a Dyson Sphere, and you've got to be able to build it or you can't complete the game. Like that's part of the final part. But once you've built a little bit of a Dyson Sphere, you don't have to build much of one in order to be able to complete the game. I know this because I've only just done it, and like literally yesterday for me. And it was a very, very cool thing to finish and get the Dyson Sphere bit done. But now I'm like, yeah, okay, now I'm going to start really thinking big. And I was looking around on forums and on the Discord, and people, when they think big, they basically have blueprints for entire planets. They go to a planet like, yeah, I'd like to set up a little bit of a manufacturing base here, and they slap down a blueprint that transforms the entire surface of the planet into a new factory unit. Now that is epic scale. And one of the things with Dyson Sphere is your Dyson Sphere in your game generates a certain amount of power. And that power is registered to the central hub of the actual game. And if you look, the game is based in our Milky Way galaxy. I don't know if you can actually find Earth on there or not. I don't know if our sun Sol is in the game. I have no idea on that. It might be. I haven't looked it up. But what you can do is you can see different stars and that, and you can see how much power people are generating. So at the moment, I'm generating, I think it's 1.4 gigawatts of energy from my Dyson Sphere, which is not really very much. I have seen some other players, like if you look through the galaxy, the Milky Way bit, you can see there's other players on there who have done a little bit more generating, and there was one person I seen who's generating over, because you got gigawatts, so it's megawatts, and then it goes to gigawatts, which is 1,000 megawatts, and then it goes to terawatts, which is above the gigawatts, and then above that is a petawatt, which is, you know, 1,000, and every time it changes the name, you add another 1,000, add another 3 zeros to the number. So there's one person I see who's generating 1 petawatt of power from their Dyson Sphere, which is insane. That's not just one Dyson Sphere, that's got to be several, and I have no idea how they've done it, but it has set me a new goal. So that's kind of my little obsession at the moment when I'm not doing anything YouTube related. My private gaming obsession at the moment is Dyson Sphere, and I'm kind of liking the idea of generating 1 petawatt of power. I reckon I can do it. I absolutely reckon I can do it. We will have to see. It's something that I am just sort of playing with in my own time. So anyway, that's the factory game, and thus I'm generally all about automation in just about every game, and it's this relation to factory games. It's all about factory games and the automation, which is why I'm pretty certain of it. It's why I have this obsession with getting the hired help to do as much as possible in this game, because it's automating it. I need it to be automated. I need it to be able to run and do its own thing. I set it and forget it, like I do with the factory games that I play and things like that. And micromanagement, the only things that I tend to micromanage is when I'm playing a game like Witcher or something like that, because you expect to do everything yourself in a game like Witcher, or World of Warcraft or something like that. You know, it's a fantasy game. You run along and you do things yourself. You don't have a robot that goes and does your sword fighting for you. You do all of that, and it's all individual tasks. That's that type of game, and when I want to play that type of game, I get into that type of game. But when it comes to just about anything else, I like ways to improve things and then set them up so that I don't have to worry about them. That's generally my goal in any of these types of games, is set it up and then let the game do it itself. And I'm still managing it, and I like to manage it, but I don't want to micromanage it. I don't want to be hovering over it, having to do 100 little adjustments and changes all the time, because that kind of defeats the whole point of the game doing it itself anyway. I want to say, right, that one, go over there and do that, and then we can forget about it. And for the most part, Farming Simulator gets that right. A lot of jobs, I could just tell the hired help, right, go and do it, and then we can forget about it. Yes, with odd-shaped fields, we end up with a situation like this, where I'm having to do quite a lot of this myself. I wouldn't have worried very much about the ploughing on that bank back there that I've just gone and spent all that time doing. except that we're doing one plow job on this field and then we're turning it into grass and it will be left there forever. I'm not changing it back again, which means that all of these bits of red on here, unless I plow them up now, they will never get plowed up. And I know for a fact that even if it doesn't bother me today, I will come back to it at some point and look at it and be like, yeah. It bugs me so much that I'm actually seriously considering plowing up all of the grass in order to get rid of those bits that are not plowed properly and should be. Even if it doesn't actually have any effect on the game. I still want it all plowed up, and because I don't think that the plowing thing actually affects the yield of grass. Still doing it. And that's kind of like the whole set and forget thing. It falls down a little bit on these kinds of fields, and that's why it annoys me that we still don't have a mod. Well, not a mod, we still don't have in the base game something like the AI vehicle extension, which is, I really do think that we should have that. And I cannot understand why we don't have that. That's something that has bugged me for many years now, is why we don't have hired help that is capable of doing something like that when mods have actually been able to make that work so many times. And I think there is a working version of AI vehicle extension at the moment, although the main creator of it has stopped playing Farming Simulator 22 altogether and gone off to do other things. So I'm not quite sure what the future will bring. I'm hoping that maybe, just maybe, the next version of the game would have a decent hired help. I would be quite happy for Giants to bring no other changes to the game. Pretty much redo what they've done, slightly better graphics, but the entire focus of the farming... What are we on now? This is FS22. With 19 and 22. Potentially, we could go FS25. Potentially. I would be quite happy with minuscule changes, maybe an extra crop or two, another animal, something like that. Right? Small changes. Essentially just a few tiny little additions and changes like that they've done before. But the only major change I want to see to the game is have hired help that will fully cooperate with everything you want it to do. And yeah, I know that we do now have this, which I don't really use. Right? We've got this situation here. We've got the active workers. And I can tell a worker to go from one place to another. So I can have that one there, and I can send it off to another location if it can pathfind, and it does seem to struggle to do the pathfinding situation. So I've got this lorry right here, and it's hooked up. So I can I can create job, or I can just set destination. Create job with this one, because he's open. I think I can actually have it go up to a tipping point, a loading point, load, and then go to automatically to an unloading point, which I haven't actually tried. So I've got this, and I can just set this one. It can have a destination. So I'm going to set that target rotation. I'm going to set it there like that. That one, I'm hoping, will be able to drive around through the yard and get down to that field. So we have got that, which is fantastic that we've got it. But it's also not very good. See? The pathfinding is not brilliant. And it's alright having this pathfinding and so on. Like, we've got this little bit, and it will do these things to a certain extent. But it's still not great. Like, there's... I know that you can set stuff up. I know maybe I should try and use this a little bit more, but it seems to be much the same as the rest of the hired help. That bit is great, and we know that that works, and it does kind of work. I don't tend to use it very much because of it's constantly you know, I'm going to take a break from the ploughing just for a second, and we're going to do this. Because it's constantly telling me that it's not working very well. So I'm going to take a break from the ploughing. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to drive this one back over here. I'll come back and I'll tidy this up afterwards. And I'm going to let it carry on and just do this little bit of ploughing that we've got over this side. I want the hired help to be able to do the work in the fields. Follow the edges of fields and do the work in the fields. That's all I want. That's all I want. From the next version of the game, I want me some hired help that actually does what it's supposed to do. Like, I want it to be able to do the different jobs in the fields and me not have to go and do the work for the hired help after it's finished. Yeah, that's all I want. Right, I'm going to leave that one there. I'm not even going to look at it. We'll just leave it and hope for the best. And let me load this up. I got like 500 litres left in that bag. But we are now fully loaded up. And we can head back round to the field. So when you've got a lot of these odd-shaped fields like we've got here in this particular map, the hired help does work to a certain extent. And yes, I know if I was to get course play, it would work an awful lot better and it would be able to do all the stuff that I'm talking about. I still don't like course play though. And we'd be able to have all of it doing fine. But the hired help for the base game doesn't like odd-shaped fields very much. And there's a lot of little things that it struggles with. I think the hired help from the base game should be able to pathfind its way around the outside edge of a field and do the outside edge of the field. So it could go round the outside edge of the field 3 or 5 times and then start work on the inside of the field. Oh, I was pressing it wrong, but I was pressing H there for some reason. Why? It should be able to pathfind its way round the whole thing, around the outside edge of a field, regardless of the shape, and then start working up and down in strips in the main field like it does now. It's the outside edges of the field, but we've had code that can do that for quite some time, both in courseplay and in the AI vehicle extension. So we know that it can be done, we know that it works, so why haven't Giants implemented similar code into their own game? That is the one thing that really, really irritates me about this game and about what Giants do with the game. I don't want more DLCs. I don't want lots of DLCs coming out. I'm quite happy with the DLCs that we've had, and I know that a lot of them aren't to everybody's taste, but you're never going to have a DLC that's going to make everybody go, oh wow, that's amazing. Right? It just won't happen. A DLC that makes me go, oh wow, that's amazing, will have someone else go, that's rubbish, there is nowhere to pay money for it. So for a DLC, like, we all know that that is the case, that you are never ever going to have one that everybody thinks is amazing and wants to buy. Unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. A massive thank you to everybody who has earned their way into the Great Book of Names. To find out some more details about all the names coming past, please head into the description and click on the link to the Discord. It's a link to another video. The link is on the other video. Please also consider checking out the links there for Nitrado, who provide gaming servers for games like Farming Simulator, Minecraft, Ark, and several others. And there's also Fanatical, who will help support your gaming habit by providing you with cheap games and also giving me a small commission on anything that you buy using my link. If you've enjoyed this particular video, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.